the biggest thing for me has actually been meditation. So I just feel like it helps with the self-awareness. And I have like, whenever try to do it daily, it just gives me more clarity about what actually is important to me. Why am I doing this? What would be my next steps? And it's actually helped me to have more focus and just be more confident and have more self-trust.
Hello and welcome to the Shift Your Day Job podcast. I'm Brittany Cates, your host and companion on this incredible journey of career transformation. Get ready for inspiring stories, valuable insights, and a roadmap to shift your mindset towards a more fulfilling professional life. In each episode, we explore the remarkable journeys of individuals who made the leap from one career to another. As we navigate through these stories together, you'll find motivation, strategies, and the confidence to pursue your dreams. Whether you're feeling stuck, contemplating a change, or just seeking a dose of inspiration, this podcast is your weekly companion. Tune in every Thursday as we uncover the secrets to shifting your day job. I'm Brittany Cates, and I'm here to guide you on your path to a more fulfilling career. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Shift Your Day Job podcast. I'm Brittany Cates, and I am grateful that you're listening today. I am excited to introduce you to my guest. Her name is Anna Gray. She is a technology expert with over 2 decades of experience working in the corporate world for companies like Adobe and Sony PlayStation. And now she has a business as an automation specialist where she works one-on-one with online business owners to help them leverage technical tools to help grow and scale their businesses. I was super impressed by Anna's knowledge, her skill set, and her intuitiveness. She has a lot of great insights and valuable experience to share with you in this episode. So I hope you enjoy. Without further ado, please welcome Anna Gray to the podcast. Hi, Anna. Thanks so much for being on the podcast today. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thanks for being here. So where are you located?
So I am in the UK, just outside London, but I'm originally from Finland. So that's where I grew up before I moved abroad.
Cool. How long have you been in that London area?
So probably like a little bit over 15 years now.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you for being here with me. We're going to start off with just a bit of background about your career and where you started and how it's evolved to get you where you are today.
Yes, sir. I feel like I've done like more than one career change because the first one was actually more education change. So I was doing a bachelor's degree in Finland in marketing, but then that school actually had a program in information technology. And I had a couple of introductory courses from that side of things and realized I actually enjoyed a lot more than the marketing. And I even had like accounting and whatever courses. So I then actually ended up swapping completely to like major in information technology. So that's how my whole career started. I was never even supposed to be in software development in the first place. It was more like a happy accident. And then I did my master's in France in Toulouse University in computer science and intelligent systems like the early AI. And then later moved to UK. So I've lived in multiple countries. And then here I worked as a contractor or consultant for over 10 years before then. And that was great. Like I got to work with lots of different people and with different businesses. But then once my daughter was born, I was on maternity leave and then returned back to work. And I just thought something like shifted in me. And I wanted to have like more freedom, more fulfillment from my career. And just wanted to feel I'm actually helping people and making a bit more of a difference. Like I loved my career so far, but I just thought actually I want to try something new again. So I started to learn more about online business and just to understand different business models. I dabbled a bit here and there. And then last year I decided, okay, if I want to do it, this is the right time to get serious. And I then had a bit of time off because I realized I really need to like work on shifting my mindset and deciding like what it is I will offer in this new space. And that's when I joined that group where we met. And I did a bit of research. I had some chats with women about how they use technology to understand like their pain points and where my skills could bring most value. And also what would be fun for me to do in this kind of new space and what I enjoy most doing. And then I just started offering to help people here and there, put up and first offer really affordable just to get more testimonials, and got some great feedback and realized actually this is something people really need. There's so many people who need my help with this. And it was great. And most of all, what was really nice is that I actually finally felt like I'm making a big difference. I mostly work with women. So to see somebody go from, oh, I'm like a bit stuck trying to figure it out on my own, or I'm like so overwhelmed. I have all these pieces, but I don't know how they work together. And then to suddenly have this almost light bulb moment. Oh, this is how it all connects. Now I have these processes in my business that kind of match my goals and not just some random tools that don't speak to each other. So that's been like so fulfilling. And it makes me also feel like I'm in the right place and doing the kind of things that I enjoy. So that's how I got into my current business. And also what's really nice is that when I get I also support my clients in Voxer. So sometimes I get these little messages or voice notes where my clients say, oh, thank you so much. You are the best. Or I can't believe how smooth that was. And I'm like, it just makes my day every time because it's just so nice and personal to be working directly with people rather than in the corporate where I was before.
Yeah.
So that's my journey.
That's awesome. I think it's interesting because you sprinkled a lot of different key points in there. For instance, like recognizing that you needed a better work-life balance because your life changed with the birth of your daughter and it changed the whole dynamic of, oh, what do I really need? And then also the idea of, I know I really want to help people. So what does that look like using the skills that I have? And then love how you've been very proactive about, okay, what do people need? And you're talking to people and you're learning how your skills can serve others. And then in the process, you found that fulfillment and a lot of opportunities. That's really awesome. Lots of things we could talk about there. So in that process of, actually, I want to back up for a second because I did have a question for you. Can you tell me a little bit more about information technology? Like what is that and what kind of work? I imagine you can do a lot of different things in an area. So what kind of work did you focus on earlier on in your career?
Yes, so my degree is in computer science. So I worked as a software developer or web developer. And my contracting career was mostly, I was specializing in this Adobe content management system, which is basically what powers some of these big websites out there. So my clients were some of the like big media agencies in London or like Sony PlayStation or the Telegraph. And they basically have this system behind their website that I would then help to develop. So it was like a bit of a crossover with like web development and also like the visual side of things, as well as the actual software development in the background.
All right. Awesome. So would you say that you're a full stack developer? Like you can do the back end and front end work?
Yes, that's exactly it. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. That's awesome. I work with developers, so I have a little bit of context there.
Great. Yes.
Yeah. And then what exactly are you helping women with currently in your business?
So actually, I help online business entrepreneurs with marketing automations. So that's things like setting up your email list and the landing pages for your offers or your lead magnet. And then like any integrations if you are using like more than just one tool and how how the whole strategy like comes together so that you can go out there and market yourself and send emails and do all that stuff without worrying about the tech.
That's
and
awesome.
I also like with some clients, if they are still a bit more new and don't have a website, then I can definitely do that as an add-on to get you set up right from the beginning.
Yeah. So you have a lot of knowledge in a lot of different programs, right? Like things that are out there that facilitate email lists or building a website, or do you like do these things from scratch? I'm just curious.
So I'm using all the great tools out there. And I'm a little bit like kind of software agnostic in a way, because there's like lots of good tools out there, but I don't specialize in just one. But I'm still in the process of deciding like which ones of all these good tools I want to support. But I've got like a handful that are my preferred ones. And then depending on the client, I can recommend what's the right tool for them. Or if they are with something like, say, Kajabi, which is like a well-known, it's more like all-in-one type of platform, then that's also something I can support. But I guess with my background, I was using these systems in the corporate that are even more complex. So I'm quite confident to go out there and pick up a new platform if it needs be.
Yeah. That's amazing. I'm similar in a way because in my entrepreneurial process over the past few months, I've tried so many different like options that are out there to see which one like really fits or that I feel most comfortable with. And so I'm super impressed that you're able to intuitively like figure out all of them and tailor whatever your client needs. So that's amazing to me.
Yes. And I feel that's also like a big part of the process, because some of the clients who come to me, they are like almost paralyzed because there's so many different good tools out there now. And then you don't know which was the best tool for me. Maybe just if I had this other tool, it would solve all my problems. When actually it's not always even just about the tool. It's about like your whole overarching strategy rather than if you are using tool A or tool B.
Yeah. And that's another thing that I'm impressed about is that it's not just working with the tool, but you are able to figure out the strategy piece. What is the process going to look like for this client and how they work? So that's amazing. Cool. I might need more of your help. I don't know. When it came to the point where you recognized that you needed a job that fit your lifestyle better, were there any obstacles that you came up against, like within yourself or in your environment? Like what challenges did you face? And do you have any advice for people if they're facing a similar challenge?
Yes. So I was actually a little bit surprised that it really was not an easy transition, because I thought that I'm already a bit of an entrepreneur, like a bit in between, because I worked as a contractor or consultant. So I wasn't getting paid if I was on holiday. I would get paid a day rate. So if I was on holiday or sick, I wouldn't get paid. So it was a bit like halfway house to being an entrepreneur. But it really did surprise me uh, how different it still was, like how much it still was a bit like being a permanent person somewhere. So the biggest thing for me was like I had to uh, totally shift my mindset, because when you are an entrepreneur like this, it's like so much more than just doing that thing you are really good at. You have to do all the things in your business, and you have to put yourself out there in a like completely different way. So some things you can do would be a major thing for me was like adapt this kind of more flexible mindset that it's okay to test these things out and not be amazing first time you are trying something new, because that first time is actually just your starting point. And then you can grow from there and learn. And next time you will do it just a little bit better. And then another thing was like finding my own circle of business friends. So that's people I can learn from or maybe learn with, and people who support me. And when I go out there and do all those things, they might show up to my talk and tell me how good it was. And just support me as I support them. And then in the beginning, this was as simple as just finding a couple of podcasts. And then I was listening to those like once or twice a week and just surrounding myself with people who were doing something similar to what I wanted to do, even though I didn't know them in person back then. I was just like listening to their podcast and surrounding myself with them. And then later I actually got to know some online business entrepreneurs in person. And then last thing I'd say, be the person who says yes. So say yes to things that can take your life or your business to that new direction or to the right direction.
Thank you for sharing. Those are really great tips. And the idea of saying yes, it makes me think of, if you're going to do this and you're going to pursue whatever a new career path is for you, you need to commit. And so
Yeah.
being open to new opportunities that feel maybe scary or uncomfortable, but knowing this is my goal. So I'm going to say yes to things so that I can get where I want to go. So I love that tip.
Yeah.
I'm curious, you mentioned that you recognized you needed to change your mindset. What brought that on? Like, how did you realize that?
So I would actually say I only realized it afterwards, because what happened, I finished my last contract last year. And then I thought, oh, like the week later, I will be like in my new online business, right? And then I ended up taking a little bit more time out. And I was like, actually, I just want to have a bit of time to spend with my daughter. And I was like still learning and still connecting with people and having some chats with people and asking them about how they use technology. But now looking back, I was actually shifting my mindset more to this new place. I just then thought, oh, I just need to like take a little bit of a break before I start something big. But looking back, I was taking a break from the actual job, but I was also still like processing a lot and just taking a bit of time to become almost like a tiny bit different version of myself.
I love that. So it's important for us to make the space to have the time. So, for instance, when I was trying to figure out my career transition, I had the luxury of having to work from home, like most of us did, but it gave me more time and space to really dig into, okay, what is it that I do want? And so these are two like prime examples of, if you're in the daily grind, making sure you're setting aside time for yourself to reflect and learn more about yourself in whatever way that might look like for you. Or if you have the space, like your contract ended and you thought, oh, I'm going to jump right back in a week, but you allowed yourself more time than that, like taking advantage of the opportunities that are presented to yourself so that you can utilize that time to really get to know yourself better and figure out what your next step really is or what you really need to get moving in a new direction.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you discuss a tough moment in your transition and how you stayed resilient?
So this would maybe be like quite early on when my daughter was very young. And we then were also doing a house renovation. That was like a major project and took a lot of energy and time. And I was juggling that, and I was still working 4 days a week and also being a new mom. So it was quite a lot going on. And I already had this dream, I'm going to start this new business. And I was thinking I would do it on the side. And it just wasn't happening. And there was like times when I thought, oh, like it's like never going to happen. But I still kept my dream alive by just taking small steps, like on a way to work, educating myself about online business models, listening to podcasts, maybe reading some books, just so I could eventually make the leap when it was the right time.
It's a great reminder because, similar to what we were just talking about, like sometimes you don't have a long period of time or a lot of time available to do the work or reflect or work on your business as much as you want to or you think you're supposed to.
Mhm.
And it makes me think of the phrase I've learned recently is slow down to speed up, and how your journey is going to look different than other people's, and giving yourself grace for that, right? Like, you had a lot going on, and it's okay that it wasn't quite like moving as quickly as you had hoped,
Yeah.
because balancing so many other things. So I love the resources of just listen to a podcast one day while you're doing something else, right? Or read a book as you're going to bed, read a chapter or something. And I think those are great small steps that people can take so they're not feeling so overwhelmed, and giving themselves, like I mentioned, the grace of being flexible.
Yeah, definitely.
Can you talk about your support system that you've had in this process of shifting your career?
Yes. So I think when I first started thinking about it, I realized it would be quite difficult to do it completely on my own. So one of the best decisions was to join this online course and community where I learned a lot about online business. But that was almost secondary because I actually got my first online business friends from that group. And we have been supporting each other ever since. We have a weekly call where we meet and just discuss what we are doing and what's going on and how we can support each other. And then also through that group, I also learned from other people who were like just a bit further than me. And I could get some advice and feedback on my offers and then just be like inspired by their stories, how they became online entrepreneurs and how their journey was like and what experiences they had. And just having that support was a really big help.
That's great. So, joining a group of people that are doing something similar to what you're doing and supporting one another in those endeavors, and then also reaching out to people for help who are a little bit ahead of you that could help you through something new that you're experiencing as you're building your own business.
Yes. And also, I would say another thing is having a coach or a mentor or somebody who can support you. And I actually had a career coach. This is like many years ago now, before I was like really thinking about my own business, because I was just looking a bit more direction on my career back then. And that actually then sparked my whole entrepreneurial journey, because at some point this career coach was like, so have you ever thought of starting your own business? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, yeah, I think you are heading that way, like after we had worked together for a couple of months. And she actually really gave me the courage to start looking at all those opportunities out there.
Yeah. I love that because I've done quite a few interviews so far, and having someone in your circle that you trust and that can see things that you're capable of, or see talent or skills that you are maybe not recognizing in yourself, is really helpful to start building the confidence, like you said, and starting to get you thinking like, oh, maybe I could do this thing that wasn't really even on my radar before. And I do think it's interesting how we get caught up in our day to day job or day to day grind, whatever that looks like. And we have like blinders on. We can only see what's in our realm of reality when there's so many possibilities out there. And the only way you're going to really start seeing them is if someone or something points them out to you. And so it could be a trusted mentor like that, or it could even just be like a podcast or a book that you read that sparks something new in your mind, and you realize, oh, maybe there is room for more possibilities than I'm realizing. So thank you for sharing that.
Yes, definitely. And something that you said about having someone to look in from the outside, like just talking through these things with someone, whether it's a coach or even like in this friendship group of business friends. Like people who know you, but are a little bit more on the outside can just sometimes notice some patterns or some things that when they say it back to you, you're like, oh, that was like so obvious. How did I not even realize that?
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned reading books and podcasts and other resources that you have used. Are there any specific ones that you might recommend to people who are considering a career move to help build their confidence or change their perspective?
Yes. So I guess on the more practical side of things, I would just say keep learning in like whatever works for you, whether it's the podcast or whether it's about chatting to people who are in that industry you want to move into. But then also don't just learn and don't keep learning, but actually start taking action and then start like making all those connections and start networking and just surrounding yourself with the people like that. And on the kind of more mindset side of things, the biggest thing for me has actually been meditation. So I just feel like it helps with the self-awareness. And I have like, whenever try to do it daily, it just gives me more clarity about what actually is important to me. Why am I doing this? What would be my next steps? And it's actually helped me to have more focus and just be more confident and have more self-trust. And on that point, I would say just make sure to protect and manage your energy. Because when you are, especially if you are starting something a little bit new, it can be a bit scary. But when you are in good energy and you have that flow, then you'll be taking action from that place. And then things just start happening and it becomes like this circle that just gets bigger and bigger. And then your energy is better because you are actually seeing results.
Yeah. Yeah. Like when you're doing something that gives you energy, you're more likely to keep going and keep moving so that it does grow. Whereas doing something that drains your energy, you're stopping often to rejuvenate yourself and get ready to get back into it. So, yeah.
Yeah. And it makes a massive difference. Even like sometimes people talk about 9 to 5 and, oh, it's great, it's the weekend. Whereas now when I'm doing something I enjoy, I'm like, I don't mind if it's the weekend or I don't feel like 9 to 5 because even now it's the weekend, but I'm choosing to do this. And sometimes I'm like, oh, actually, like I have this lovely client who just needs like this one little thing quite quickly. I'll just like tinker with it a little bit now on a Saturday, just because I actually want to. And I actually feel energized because I'm doing something I enjoy and I'm in the flow. And then it doesn't like your personal life and work can like just happily blend.
I love that. Can you tell the listeners a little bit about what meditation looks like for you? Because I think it's a little bit
Yeah.
different for everybody.
Yes, so I personally, or well, at the moment, I'm still actually like a bit more new to meditation. I only properly started doing it actually when we were doing it in this membership group where we met. And then I started realizing somehow after those calls, for me, they are like in the evening here in the UK. And I always felt like energized. And I was like, oh, I feel like I should be doing some great work now, but it's like bedtime. So I was like, maybe I should do this meditation again in the morning. So I started doing that and just noticed like a shift in my energy. And then I started doing it daily. And then at the moment, what I do, I normally do this really quick, just couple of minutes every morning, right when I wake up, if I can. And then like few times a week, I might do some slightly longer ones, like more guided meditations, the longer ones, I would say. And the morning practice is more like a quick check-in with my whole body, how I'm feeling, and if there's like any tension, taking a few breaths, and then connecting with my higher self and just saying, how do I want to feel today? Do I want to just feel like in the flow, or do I want to feel grounded, or whatever it is? And then I just imagine myself feeling like that. And it's so simple. It's like a couple of minutes every morning, but it makes a massive difference.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that because I love the simplicity of it. It doesn't take a lot of time and it's something that everybody can do. So thank you. for sharing your method, and hopefully it helps somebody else figure out what works for them.
Great. Thank you so much.
So you've talked about support system with people that are doing what you're doing. How has your family been a part of your support system in this process as well?
Yes. So actually, I think my whole entrepreneur spirit probably comes from my family, because when I was probably was like 12, 13, maybe 13, my mom started her own business. So she actually got, I think they were like letting some people go. She's a nurse. And then she had this idea that actually I could like do something new in the mental health care and start like this care home business, because she had like lots of ideas how to support those people that really needed help in a kind of more home care environment. And she basically just started this business, and me and my sisters would be like sitting around the table and brainstorming names for the business. And then later, when I was like studying information technology, I made the first ever website. Luckily, they now have a new one, because that one was like quite old fashioned. But that, I think that's like a big part of me. Like my family's always been quite like, we traveled a lot by car from like Finland to Morocco by car to Europe, and was still quite a lot of adventurous things. And then my mom started in the business. I've always been a bit adventurous in that sense. And then with my current family, my husband is my rock, and he is so supportive. And I think also because he has a little bit more steady career, it really helped me to say, actually, I'm just like basically jumping into doing something completely new, because I knew he is like the steady presence that can support me, not just financially, but also just at home if I need a bit more time, and he needs to look after our daughter a little bit more because I want to fit in a bit more. So he's been very supportive. And he actually said to me when I started this new business, he was like, okay, well, I trust you. If you think that's a good thing to do, then I'll fully support you.
That's awesome. I love that he says he trusts you, and you trusted yourself enough to make it happen or to go for it, and to know that you were going to be successful because you're going to make it happen. And I think it's interesting how a lot of the women that I've talked to, there's someone in their life that's really close to them, that knows them really well, that has helped them see what they're capable of in a way. And so for him to just be like, I trust you, go for it, is him showing you that he knows how capable you are. It like reinforces, I think, what you're trying to do. And so I think that's amazing that you have that support.
Yes. And I do feel quite lucky that both my family in Finland and my family here in the UK are all very supportive. So I do feel super lucky to have that. But I would say you can always go out there and find your own support family, like whether it's friends or whether it's a family member.
What would you say helped you figure out what you were really good at or what you really enjoyed doing to get you to this point of your own business and doing the things that you really like?
So I think one thing that was quite insightful a few years ago when I had that career coaching, there was this exercise that we did some of those like personality profiles and like figuring out what's my superpowers and core skills, because that actually helped me not just give confidence that actually I'm like good in analytical thinking or whatever, but to actually just fully understand, okay, what's the things that I am really good at? I'd like the combination of my skills, and then taking from my career in technology, merge that all into one. And also it made me realize that was the reason originally why I did that change in education, because that actually matches quite well lots of my kind of superpowers.
So doing this personality test really just helped bring things to the surface, and you were able to start making connections between your life experiences and what the test was telling you or your strengths.
Yes, exactly. And then I think from that place to actually then to start chatting to people and figuring out, okay, I'm really good in these kinds of things. But now I just basically started, even like some of the other moms from school who I know they had their own businesses. Not everybody was even in online business. A couple of them were. I just said, do you want to come over for coffee? And I just want to like chat to you. How do you use technology? And then figure out what actually sounds fun for me to do. Or even where did you actually ask somebody else to help you and what was like their offer to you? And then figure out, okay, which ones of those things are the ones I really enjoy and could be like a bit of fun and also that these people actually need.
Yeah. And you mentioned action earlier. Did you start doing certain things and made a shift as you were taking the action, like figured out, I don't know if I want to do a lot of this. I think I want to do more of this type of service.
Yes. So yes, there was a bit of a shift because first I thought maybe I'll just do websites because in the more corporate world, I was more working with websites and I was still a bit new to online business and I didn't really know what marketing automations and funnels were and how well they would actually match my skill set. So I did a little bit something with websites and helped a couple people. And then I realized actually I will quite quickly get bored if I'm doing just that. And also it's a bit more of a designer nowadays anyway, because the software is so good now, you don't really need to not know like all HTML and all the coding behind it. It's more the visual side of things anyway. So I then quickly realized that doesn't really match to what I want to do day to day.
Once you realized that, just curious what got you looking at funnels. Was it just something that people shared with you that they were having struggles with? And you're like, oh, I could probably figure that out. Or how did that come to your attention?
Yes, so I guess I think it was multiple things. Like I was chatting with some people who were maybe like mentors, and then I was chatting with all these people and listening to all these podcasts and stuff. And then I just thought, okay, I just could help people to get set up with technology. And then it just grew from there, really. Like my first offer last year was more like, I'll just help you. It wasn't necessarily like, I'll do your marketing automations and funnel. It was more like, I'll just help you get set up with all the technology side of things for your online business, which of course could be a lot more than just funnels.
Right.
And then a few of the people I was chatting with started almost thinking I'm like a bit more tech support person. And then I was like, no, that's not really me. If it's just the simple tech support question, it's actually better just go to the support of the tool you are using because they might even have access to your account. That's not really what I want to be doing day to day. So then I just was fine-tuning until I decided this is what I'm offering now. And who knows, I'm like open to see where this leads. 6 months from now, a year from now, I could be doing something a little bit different again.
Yeah. I love that because we're always evolving and learning, and it's okay for things to change throughout the process. And it's a good thing because that means you're honing in on what you do best and what you enjoy the most. So I love that reminder of it could evolve, it could change, and I'm flexible and I'm open to that. I think one thing about shifting mindset in order to pursue a new career is you do have to be flexible and you do have to be willing for it to be messy sometimes. It's not ever a straight line like we think it should be or like we imagine it would be. And so I think that's a great reminder of this is what I'm doing. And the more I take action, the more clarity I gain, and the better my offer becomes because it's more aligned with me.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Anna, thank you so much for sharing your experience with me today. It was really awesome to get to know you. And also, like, I can tell how smart and skilled you are just from one chat. And I'm super impressed with all of the things that you offer and that you bring to the table. Do you want to share with the audience where they can find you and services you offer in particular? Like what types of people would benefit from your service?
Yes, this will probably be in the show notes, but my website is just annaoliviagray.com. And there's a link to my Instagram, which is on the same name. So you can always connect with me there. And my current offers are basically helping with the strategy and the full one done for you service of your marketing funnels and automations. And I also currently have this more fun mini funnel offer, which is for someone, it's more for someone who is just starting out and maybe just wants to have the lead magnet and the email list set up nice and easy and learn a little bit like how to use these tools and just get started. So I also have like kind of mini offer right now.
Thanks so much again for being here. It was a pleasure chatting with you and meeting you.
Thank you.
I just want to thank Anna for being a guest on my show. I really enjoyed our conversation and was thoroughly impressed by the talent that she brings to the table and for all of her mindfulness tips and strategies that she shared. If you are starting your own online business and you need help with designs or creating funnels or building an email list, I really think Anna's your gal. So check out her website. The link is in the show notes, and follow her on Instagram. I have nothing but gratitude for those of you who are listening every week and for those of you who may be new to the podcast. If you enjoyed this episode and found some valuable nuggets of information that helped inspire you on your journey of career change, I would love to hear about it. So please leave a review for the podcast and tell me one thing that stood out to you from this conversation and how you're going to implement it as you start making career moves. Please join me again next week for another amazing conversation with an incredible woman who's made a career change. I'm your host, Brittany Cates, and let's work to shift your day job.